It's usually going to be in my right hand, okay? So anyhow, good morning and welcome to Flying Rainbow Single Tai Chi Fan. So just put your fan aside for a moment and once again do a little bit of Ji Ben Gong. Just working on the shoulders and the joints. I hope you guys enjoyed the shoulder work we did in yesterday's class. I think it does add something in terms of the joint opening. And now, working with pung and on in the legs and slapping the waist. I learned this little sequence from Dr. Shenzai Wen, but Ji Ben Gong is got a whole bunch of techniques and it's done by all of the family styles. And they sort of trade techniques around. Okay, soft fists, lungs and kidneys. And with the first knuckle of the forefinger, tailbone, and the shoulder basin. So you're whacking the trap, loosening it up and relaxing it, and you're also making contact with the area of the stomach 12 point, the cloud valley, it's called, on the collarbone. The base of your thumb, when you're doing this, is also probably impacting in the area of the second lung point. And back to lungs and kidneys. And waist. Everything nice and loose. Okay. Wide stance. Now, going to get back. So right, release right, and press with the left. Release left, and press with the right. The torso turns naturally. You don't have to twist it. Release and press. Release and press. You'll notice that with this kind of a very open bow stance, I'm not folding into the inner quad and the groin here. Okay, it's more gentle. So this is the way that this particular shift is done in Old Yang and in Chen style. The forms that have been most influential upon the rainbow form are the Chen, the Yang, and the Sun style. So here on the right, release and press. To the left, release and press. Now notice, put your hand back onto the lower back and the tailbone. Release and feel how it sinks and flattens down. And then press and it activates and comes up again a little bit. Release, tailbone relaxes, and press. Now, when I'm pressing towards the left leg, you can feel that the right gluteus or buttock is involved. I release, and that releases. Then when I move to the right, the left gluteus is involved. One of the tricks in Tai Chi is to develop what's called the internal view, which doesn't relate so much really to Qi and the movement of internal energy as it does to an understanding of what the hell your body's actually doing. The other thing you'll notice is that in this stance, when I've pressed toward the right, I haven't turned into it and leaned into it. My torso is still relatively upright. Release and press. So it turns, but I'm not taking it through into something that's more Yang style. Release and press. Now, you've got the two bones. This bone on the side, the thumb is the radius. This one here is the ulna. You can keep these straight by considering the fact that ulna means ulterior. An ulterior motive is a hidden motive. When you put your hand out like this in front of you, you can't see the surface of your arm. It's hidden from you. So that's the ulterior. And the top is the radius. Another orientation term that we use is supinated and pronated. So when the fan is like this, it's supinated. When the fan is like that, it's pronated. You can remember this because supinated is like a soup bowl. Palm up. There's the bowl. So now just playing with the commencement moves. Let's start off by saluting. The fan is lined up down the forearm, and we press the arms out, sink into the right hip, put out the left foot. And now to the right, the radius is up. We turn the hand, so the left hand is pronated and the right hand is supinated. We come back, the right hand, fan hand is pronated, the left hand is supinated. So let's just play going back and forth. Now this hand, when it's traveling like this, is executing a negative circle. It's a negative circle because it's going from the periphery in toward the center line. This hand is doing a positive circle. It's going from the center line out. What we're talking about here is something from Chen style. Here you have trapping palms. This is also known in some arts, such as jiu-jitsu, as the devil's handshake. Carney, can you help me? So I'm repeating stuff from earlier classes because we're going nice and slow. But the devil's handshake is a joint lock. And it's the kind of thing that's basic training for bouncers who are handling something like a wedding reception, and they got somebody who's being obnoxious and drunk and they want to get him out. So you get the drunk to shake your hand and then like that. You can support the elbow and you can walk the person out to the parking lot. So here, coming in close, here, there. Now back out. Okay, so this is the movement at the beginning of the Chen form. Thank you. So when I'm doing these movements, I quite often refer to this as two fishes, and then going in the other direction, this is the devil's handshake. Now, radius up, deflect across with two fishes, come in the other direction with the devil's handshake. Positive and negative circles, back and forth. Just play back and forth, pressing and releasing in your hips. The tailbone is active, the spine is active. The stance is narrower than in the warm-up exercise. Now, open the fan, close it. Renat is new to the fan, so the thing is that you have, as per the document you got, these I'm calling the ribs. The end ones are the veins. They're heavier. So you can open the fan and you can stab with the vein. Now, the key is to hang on. The fan is like this. You hang on and you pinch the top vein, and then you open away from it. So when you flick the fan in any position, you just have to hang on down here by the hinge and pinch the top vein. And the fan pretty well takes care of yourself. So for people who are new, practice horizontal, perpendicular, coming up, out to the side like that, out to the side like this, to the front. So just play with your fan for a bit. Practice this a little bit. This gets you halfway into the covering motion, which is like this. So pronated, supinated, like this and like that. You got a strike coming in, you deflect with the vein, and you brush away with the ribs and the lower vein. So here, here. This is a negative teacup. Now, for those of you who've worked with Kung Fu or Karate Do or Ken style or Old Yang, this is part way to this, which is a Lohan block, where you're blocking with your elbow and forearm. See, right there. And then you can snap out and close the fan. So let's go cover, come across, close the fan to the front. That's one of the actions we'll be learning today. So here, cover, come across. There's the little bit of a Lohan block, snapping the fan closed. Here, out. This motion here going out, you can have strikes with the butt, you can have thrusts with the end, you can have chopping strikes with the shaft of the fan. You can also have snapping the fan out with the ruffle. Now, just for an experiment, this ruffle is loaded, which means that I put, or Karna sewed for me, some glass sequins onto it in little clumps. Ouch. So when you have a loaded fan like this, it's a little bit more decorative in terms of having some sequins or whatever, but also it makes the fan with the ruffle very effective in terms of flicking an attack towards the other person's eyes. You know, making him tear up so you have a while to get out of there or to do something else to him. So once again, let's do, for a lady who works the shuffles. So we're here, step out, the fan shovels up into the neck, then we cover, come across, close the fan. So here, cover, shifting back, raising the toe, come through, close the fan. Here, back, and then we're going to go into something else. Now, let's just go back up again, up. This is our commencement. Two fishes to the right, devil's handshake here, open the foot, follow step. So that's the first movement of the flying rainbow form. Coming up with the Alma, coming across, go across the other way, weight shifts to the left foot so you can open the right foot, and it must open from the hip. When you do this, you have to make sure that the left knee is not being torqued. So the hips are really open and the fan is pointing towards you, towards the opponent. When I shift to the right foot, my left heel lifts, so the knee is not torqued. And now I've stepped into a follow step. And the hand is presented out like this to the other person. So here from the side, up, across, shifting the weight, open the foot, step. This is protecting my head. This is presented towards the opponent. Now, for purposes of the form, as is typical with forms, I'm opening on the short axis, and then I'm moving to the long axis. So the long axis is here, okay? So that this is a bit similar to being in a classroom situation where you could be behind me. I'm going to turn my back to you now. Problem, you can't see what my hands are doing, but I've just shown you what my hands are doing. You can't remember? Next time, pay attention. Move into the right hip. Put out the left foot. Shift. Thumbs up. Sit. Come across, left hand palm down, right hand supinated. Weight shifts to the left foot, spiral down into the hip, opening the right foot. Shift the weight, bring in the foot. Now, a little bit of a departure from what Master Helen does. With my left hip, knee, and foot, I execute a clockwise trapping circle and step out. Okay? Carney, can I help you again?
No, can I help you?
Now, the clockwise trapping circle, okay, as opposed to simply bringing up the knee and then stepping out, this is related to the devil's handshake we just did. And this is one of the basic stylistic elements in the Beijing styles of Chen style. If you're doing it in conjunction with the devil's handshake, as is the case in the solo form, what you're doing is you're trapping here, and at the same time, you're trapping here behind the knee. Okay, so you're centered. If I stamp down hard with the left foot, the knee goes. Okay. Card is going, "Ah!" Okay. So now if you look at the angle of the foot, it comes up and the toe is hooking in behind the knee. So this is not a kick. This is a grab with the inside edge of the foot. Hence the clockwise circling action like that. Thank you. And then you've got a whole bunch of different throws and locks and stuff you can do. So here, commencement, come across, spiral down, opening the right foot, shift into follow stance. Trapping circle, step out. And chop to the right rear. Back to the left. Fan protects the head. Negative circle with the left hand and protect the knee. When you do the chop with the fan, if you're chopping with the flat of the vein, that doesn't hurt much. Do this. Chop with the assembled edges of the ribs. That stings quite a bit more. You want to have something that is kind of shocking, because when you're doing something like a chop, it can be to the face or it could be to the small bones of the wrist. Now, facing away from you. Salute. Sink into the right hip. Left foot goes out. Commencement of Tai Chi. To the right. Come across. Shift the weight. Spiral down into the left hip. Shift through. Follow step. Trapping circle. Step out. shifting the weight. Chop to the rear. You'll notice how the left hand folds across like that. Shifting back to the front. Circle again. The right hand protects the head. Left hand protects the knee. Again. Salute. Spiral down into the right hip. Step. Commencement. Circle. Step out. Chop to the rear. To the front. This is the basic weight shifting we did on the warm-up. Fold the left hand. Protect the head. Protect the knee. Now from here, shift, leveling the arms. Pivot in the right toe and the left heel and step through, snapping the fan open horizontally. Now reversing that, so I'm going to do it towards you. Sink into the right hip, and you can see how I spiral down in that direction, or coil down. Shift the weight. Commencement, come across. Shift the weight to the right, open the foot, come through. Trapping circle, step out. Now you'll notice in this position, my left foot is not pointing on the 90 toward the front. It's at an angle. So the groin is protected. If I have a kick coming in, I can take it on the meat of my quad. Now from here, chop to the rear. Circle to the front with weight shifting. Protect the head, protect the knee. Level the arms, bring in the right toe and the left heel. Step through. Now, when you are in this stance here, that foot has to be open. If you have this foot straight, you're going to feel tense in your hips, and you're going to be really, really tense in this muscle here. The supporting leg, just like with all the Tai Chi kicking, the supporting leg in any dually bu or one-legged stance, or in this case, cat stance, has to have the foot angled open for you to be relaxed and stable. So going back to this, the follow stance, circle, step out. And you can see it's a very narrow stance. Chop, circle to the front. Protect the head, protect the knee. Adjust the feet, leveling the arms, step through. In the final position, the fan is held, no contact, but it's held into the tiger's mouth formed by the thumb and the forefinger. So it's like this, but you're not actually touching. The idea here is if somebody tries to take your fan away from you, you can break it down and get it back. So once again, facing you from this stance here, trap, step out, chop, circle, protect the head, protect the knee, level the arms and adjust the feet, step through. From this position, we're going to do a circle. And I'm going to take the fan away because it's a distraction. The first step here, Master Helen doesn't do. I put it in because it feels better for me coordinating with the fan. So you have 6 steps. You have 1, 2, putting down the heel and turning, 3, and I release those toes, 4, 5, 6. And then I'm standing up on my leg. So I'm turning, I'm turning in 1 1/4 circles. It's more than 360 degrees. So I'm here, step, weights on the right foot, cross step backwards with the left, put down the heel, go pigeon-toed, go bagua, pivoting open, circle around, and come up. Now, facing away from you, the way that we do it if you're following me, I'm here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and up. With the fan, chop to the rear, circle, protect the head, protect the knee, level, adjust the feet, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you see there's a Leah circling here. Just do that a couple of times. Get the feeling for it. And then extend it into coming up. So the Leah is what's inside the movement, but you don't show it explicitly. Once again, Leah is when the two hands are wheeling. Leah energy is wheeling energy. This applies to a whole bunch of different things like slant flying, needleless sea bottom, not cloud hands. Cloud hands is something different. But you have this sort of feeling. Essentially, when you're doing Leah, one hand is doing a negative circle and the other hand is doing a positive circle. This was inside what we did here. Okay, so this is positive. This one is negative. I'm trying to give a grammar for these movements, and we're going slowly. I appreciate that for Renata, this is going to be a bit of a rush. For some of the others, it'll be fairly slow, but I think reviewing the parts is important. So here, salute, sink, settle into the right hip, put out the left foot. Now here's commencement. 2 fishes. Releasing the right toe, the devil's handshake. Shift the weight to the right foot, pushing off with the left big toe. Clockwise circle, trapping, step out. Chop to the right rear, shift back. Protect the head, protect the knee. Level the arms and adjust the feet, step through. Then 1, cross step and stab. 2, 3, raking at the eyes. 4, 5, close the fan, circling in Leah, and come up. When the fan comes up, the hand is turning like this, like that. So it's spiraling up. This is called offer the incense to the sky. In the old yang, this is one of the movements where you're warding, smacking into somebody with the outside of the arm and the shoulder. So this movement that we're doing here is actually in the old yang form. So once again, doing that towards you, the first step, the fan blocks down. Then it circles counterclockwise, cross step and stab. And I'm stabbing with the end vein of the fan. Remember, these 2 veins are particularly nasty weapons. So you're here, block down, circle, stab. I'm going to turn, and I turn the fan palm down, and I'm bringing it across at the level of the eyes, closing it over my head. Here's a circle, and up. When you come up into this position here, the way that Helen put it, it's as if your hand is on the back of a chair to steady you. And the foot is not here, but it's extended like that. So it's as if you are this time using the inside of your foot to just gently kick another person's knee. Salute. Sink into the right hip. Commencement. Come across. Weight shifts to the left, open the right foot or hips. Trapping circle. Step out. Chop to the rear. Back. Protect the head. Protect the knee. Level the fan, bringing in the right toe, bring in the left heel. Step through. You're now in a cat stance. Step sideways and block down. Circle the fan. Left hand is turning palm up. Stab. Left hand is to the navel. Fan hand is palm down. Coming around, close the fan, circling the hands, and offer incense to the sky. I think this is a good point for a break and for questions. Boy, that sunlight is great out there, eh?
First, I have to reverse what I said before. I'm completely wrong. This is not the form I learned. I did learn Lee Deanne's form. I thought it was Helen Wu's form, but it's obviously not the same form. So you are right and I am wrong. But nonetheless, you're going slow enough. I'm going to be able to learn this. So I'm going to keep with it.
Okay, now a possible reason for the confusion is that Helen, this is the flying rainbow single form. The story there is that when she came to Canada from China after the end of the Cultural Revolution, everybody who is Chinese in China, or rather in Canada, spoke Cantonese. Helen spoke Mandarin. And she didn't have much English, so she was totally cut off in terms of communication. She had a job which was cleaning office buildings at night, and she became very, very depressed. And so she basically put herself together with the practice of this form. So she was very committed to this form. She then got a position teaching Qigong and Wushu. I think it was in the sports medicine faculty at York University. And this was a little bit beyond what was suitable for the university students. So she simplified this form. And the larger textbook that she is now putting out, which has the family Qigong form in it as well as this form, is a simplified version of this. Okay, so that may be the reason for the confusion. I don't know whether she's calling that the flying rainbow form or not. I
have a question though.
Pardon?
I have a question though. Does it start with the spines of the fan? Should they be, when you do that first one, are they facing outward or are they facing inward? So which way does it matter? What?
It doesn't matter, because a couple of times in the course of the form, you're going to be throwing the fan and catching it. Okay. So if you're throwing the fan and catching it, you can't control what side is going to go out. It's even worse. It's even worse in the double fan form, because you've got two fans and you throw them both and catch them with the opposite hand. You know, it's anyhow, another person. So we have then 3 beginners here at least. Jill, how is this going for you?
The speed is great and the breakdown is great, Steve. Thank you.
Okay. Renata, is this okay with you? Your hand, okay then. So this is the first 3 moves of the form. Okay, and it's ending with present the incense to the sky. It's a little bit different from the old yang in that it is the left leg that is raised. But this is something that actually can be like you can teach this in terms of a spiraling strike upwards into this area in here, which could well be lethal because with the fan piece of wood, there's a good chance of breaking the hyoid bone in the throat. And so this is the bad one. But the other thing too is that if you are dealing in a fight with somebody, there's a whole method of jumping into them, presenting the closed hip and the arm and the shoulder and knocking them backwards. It's like pung, but it's not done like this, it's done like that. And this here gets you into the position for doing that. The other thing too is the next thing is we're going to be sinking the fan, which means that from this position, you could be striking downwards with the butt of the fan. If you have somebody who's bending over trying to tackle you or grab you down the waist and you're going bang, and you're doing it not just with the arm, but with the whole body. So once again, I don't think CJ has this, Renata does, and the rest of you guys do. If you consider the notes on the use of the fan in self-defense that's in at the beginning of the sequence of moves I sent out, you'll see the various ways. And you can see when you're doing that walk around, you got a whole bunch of things there. You got a blocking down, you got a stabbing with the vein of the fan. You know, you're here, you're blocking down, and then you're blocking up. And then you're stabbing, boom, with the vein of the fan. Then you're turning and you're raking the ends of the fan across the area of the eyes. And then after all of that, you're closing the fan over your head and you're boom, coming up. And the next move is boom, coming down with the butt of the fan before you step out into Fair Lady Works the Shuttles. So at the very beginning, we're being introduced to a whole lot of fan techniques in this first couple of moves. The stepping is not, it looks much trickier than it is because the fan is very seductive to the eye. And you tend to follow the fan and forget about what the feet are doing. But basically, if you could just watch me here, all the feet are doing is side step, cross step backwards, put down the left heel, pigeon toed, open the left foot, step around, and stand up. Okay, so once again, with my back turned to you, side step, cross step, heel down, pivot on the right heel, pivot on the left heel, step around with the right foot, and shift the weight. So there are really 6 steps in that sequence. So here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and up. And Judy and Rob and Bob, is this okay doing it at this pace for you guys?
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Every time you go back to the beginning, I learn something new.
Okay, and Judy and Bob?
Good.
Good, okay.
I say the same thing, Steve. Every time you go over it again, I find one more point that I didn't know before.
Okay, and also I keep putting in other little bits of adornments. The reason for that is that Helen, she really saw this as an art form, which of course it is. I'm tending to bring out a little bit more of the combative aspect with what part, for example, she never got into a discussion of what part of the fan does what. So in the notes, you'll find me talking about what the shaft is, what the butt is, what the end is, what the ribs are, what the veins are, and also the use of the ruffle. And, okay, Jill? Okay,
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, Steve. Do finish your point and then I'll ask.
okay. The thing about the ruffle too is that you can have, CJ, can you hold up your fan? Okay, this is what's called a male fan. And this means that it doesn't have a ruffle. I think, Renata, is this what you have as well? No, you've got a ruffle. So Renata is a female fan. This does not mean that males use one fan and females use the other. Okay, the idea is in terms of using the fan, if you have the ruffle, it catches the air more. And it gives you a little bit more of a current of air in terms of cooling yourself off. Combatively, you can load the ruffle, which is what I've done with mine. And you can put in the sequences or the sequence, which will give it more of an effect in terms of snapping it into the eyes or something of that kind. Okay, so it's just extending the self-defensive aspect. Now let's go through what we just did. And this time I'm going to extend it to the next move. All right. I think that works. So I'm pretty happy working with my back to you guys now in terms of what the next couple of moves are going to be. So, salute. Circle the fan down, weight shift to the right leg, lift the left heel, put the left foot across. You're now in Wujibu. Now, one little thing here is you're in this position here. Before or as you turn into the commencement, release any tension in the shoulders and the back and the upper back and the tailbone. So right here, there is a oh, and then you come up, coming across to the left, coming across to the right, opening the foot, and shift into follow stance. Then clockwise trapping circle, step out. Chop to the right, move to the left, blocking low. Protect your head, protect your knee. Level the fan, pivoting in the right toe, bring in the left heel, and as you do, the left hand comes into your chest. So the hand and the foot is coordinated. I'm tending to articulate this a bit more than Helen did. Her stuff is very, very beautiful in terms of performance, but I want something that helps you develop that sense of connection between the dantian and the feet and what the arms are doing. So here you have a movement of the foot. So chop here, protect the head, protect the knee, pivot in the right toe, bring in the left heel with the left hand, step through. And the fan is in the open tiger's mouth of the right hand. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, down. Okay, and you come down and then you open the fan. So you're up, down, open the fan. Little circle with the left hand, step out and shovel the fan up into the throat. So this is Fair Lady works the shovels, or J Lady. The left hand palm out, protecting your head. The right hand palm up, presenting the ribs of the fan into the opponent's throat. And you're in a very yang style bow stance, fully folded into the front hip. So from the tiger's mouth, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6. Down, open, circle. Jade Lady works the shuttles. From here, up, down, and out. So you have to strike down while the fan is closed. So up and boom, then you open it. This then circles and you're up. And you see this is a real negative circle. Okay. The major stylistic roots of the form are Chen style, Yang style, a little bit of Wu, and a reasonable amount of Sun. Okay, Master Helen is a master of Sun style. So all of these elements are in there. All righty. She's also a top-notch Wushu coach, and Wushu, of course, is very influenced by Chen style. Off the top now. Salute. Sink into the right hip. Step. Commencement. Come across. Stretching the waist. Come across here. Shift. Clockwise circle. Step out. Chop, palm up to the rear, left hand folding, palm down. Keep the circle going as you shift the weight to the left foot. Again, circle again, right hand protecting the head, left hand protecting the knee. Shift the weight, bringing in the right toe and leveling the arms. Bring in the left hand and the left heel. Opening the fan. Then 1, 2, cross step and stab. 3, turn the fan and put down the left heel. 4, pivot in the right heel. 5, pivot open the left. 6, Leah and stand. 1, or here. Boom, boom. So there. So once again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up, boom. And you can see that this is going into the corner. It's a 45-degree angle. The left foot is pointing into the 45. So you've got a good classic Yang style bow stance. A lot of people have a tendency to step out onto the 180, the long axis. No, this is into the corner. There are a number of actions into the corner, and they have to be committed into that corner. Okay, any questions to that point?
I just want to make sure that we are turning, because when I first did this, I was misunderstanding. We are turning all the way around and then facing this direction.
Yes, so it's not a 360, it's a 1 1/4 turn.
Okay. So
It's more than a
270.
360.
It's 270, but then when we do the fair ladies, then that's the additional 90.
And it's not 270. It's more than 360. What's 360 plus 90? I don't know. Here, DJ, you're here. Facing this way. I'm facing this way again, and I go 90 degrees further.
Oh yeah, you're right. It is. It's
Okay, so not 360.
it's 4 something, 420. It's 420.
Yeah, something like that. So it's,
All right.
this is,
I got
so you see, it's a real, and the thing is, it looks like, when you do it at speed, it looks like you're pivoting, but you're not. You're stepping all the way around. Okay, so it's 6 steps to get around into that position. And you need 6 steps because, of course, you're doing more than a complete turn. So anyhow, let's have a brief break. I want to get another glass of water and heat up my coffee, and we'll get going in about 3 minutes. I just realized I forgot these pills this morning. All right. And we'll get underway when people are back. Jill, you have a question?
I do. For at-home practice, Steve, I'd really appreciate a kind of, if you like, freeze frame sense of, for coordination and alignment of the fan with the stepping when we're doing the 4, like the 1 1/4.
Yeah.
If you could demonstrate that, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay. So fan and stepping together again.
Yes.
Okay. Other suggestions?
Steve, I just had a question. At the end where we finished with Fair Lady Works the Shuttle, we're pointing into the corner
Yeah.
and everything's lined up, right, with your left leg and your chest. You're squared into that corner and the fan, everything's lined up in that direction. Is that correct?
Yes, it's classic Yang style. Okay, exactly, Rob. So
Thank
the
you.
foot, the left foot has to be really pointing into that corner. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to commit to it. When you are doing the Yang 108, the squarest of the different postures is actually Jade Lady. With everything else, there's a slight oblique quality, but the idea of the opposite side hand to the leg pushing out really requires you to turn into it. Okay, even with the grass bird's tail, you have a slight oblique quality in the 108.
Mhm.
Okay, here you don't. It's really committed into the corner.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's get going again. And the next move is a move that a few people or some people had a little bit of difficulty with. And it's something that turns up all over the different styles of Tai Chi, but because it isn't given the name of a posture, it's really not focused on. It's particularly common in Old Yang and in Chen. Interestingly enough, it turns up in quite a few other martial arts. Now, one combat method, very interesting in the States, something that is purely combative, that you can see it's beginning to shift itself a little bit towards a martial art orientation, is a fighting style called 52 hand blocks. 52 hand blocks, and it is being produced and refined inside the American penitentiary system. And it is particularly associated with African Americans and with inner city ghetto areas among people who are economically disadvantaged. So this is what you call a vernacular method. In other words, it is a martial method which is being created and refined on the streets and in the prisons and not in clubs. I don't know whether there are any 52 hand blocks clubs yet, but within the next 10 years, I think we will see them. And the interesting thing is that the basic method, or one of the basic methods of the 52 hand blocks, is this. Okay, this is called the skull and bones method because the arms are almost crossed, like the crossed bones, and you're protecting your skull. Now, for those of you who do Chen style, this is a variation on the Lohan block. This is also a method that you use when you're going into Chen style, fist under elbow, like that. So this hand is here, this hand is down, okay? In Irish boxing that I learned from my dad, if you had a hook coming in and you're going to get hit, you'd try to take part of it by shrugging your shoulder up, okay, to dissipate the blow. So you'd be going like that. And you see here that this hand is down and this hand is up, protecting your head or protecting your center line like this. So we have done Leah circles like this, where this hand is coming up on the inside. Now, what we want at this stage of the game is a Leah circle where the hand comes up underneath on the inside, not the outside. Like this. So instead of the usual circle, which is like this, with the sweeping hand coming up on the outside and going out. So this is the conventional Leah circle. What we want now is that sweeping hand to come up on the inside. Like this. And if I turn away from you, you're not going to be able to see what's happening. And you can see here how the hand is turning. And here we have the Old Yang snake. So this is the snake shape. that you get into in all kinds of positions. So we're getting into much more shoulder work than you get in yang style. So the hand is coming up on the inside and is circling out. Right hand on the inside. Right hand on the inside. Right hand on the inside. And for our purposes, unlike 52 blocks or Irish boxing, we're not shrugging up the shoulder. That shoulder shrug is not part of Tai Chi. It's in other martial arts. So I showed you that to emphasize what some of the roots are. But here what we want is we want the scapula opening, pulling out as the hand comes here. And there's the circle. So the right hand is coming up underneath the left on the inside, and then it's going out. Left hand folds down, right hand comes up on the inside and goes out. Now, putting together the next move pretty quickly. Take the fan. Right hand underneath. Give it a little bit of a circle here. And out. And you see I'm chopping, and the fan is being held in a palm that's palm up. So here, chop. Here, chop. Here, chop. Chop. 3 different strikes here. You could chop, you could butt end, or with the ruffle, you could snap. Or butt end, or chop. Okay? Which isn't the next move. The next move, which leads us into this, is covering. So it's as if you are doing this. Okay, there's the full sequence. This is step up, deflect, parry, and punch. So a bunch of different things in there. Let's break them down. Where lady works the shuttles. Shift back, raise the left toe, and cover. As you do that, this hand turns palm up. So you're into the throat, shift back and cover. And you're looking down to your left. You're brushing away something from your left flank. Jade lady works the shuttles, shift back and cover. Jade lady works the shuttles, shift back and cover. Jade lady works the shovels, shift back and cover. Then low hun block, relax the left hand, and on the 180, close the fan with a snap. So here, cover, close the fan. Here, cover, close the fan. Here, cover, close the fan. And you can see when you're closing the fan, you've got something going on with that ruffle. And you're shifting your weight into it. So here, close the fan. My weight's to the right foot. There's the low hung block. Close the fan. And this hand is just relaxed. Here, cover. This could be a strike. It could also be deflecting somebody, like a punch. Our lady works the shuttles. Cover. Close the fan. And my weight's now on the left foot, and my hand here is palm up, but it's relaxed. Now, when you are doing this here, see the left hand? Now, watch the left hand. And then it's going to relax as I move into it. Like that. So palm out, palm up with a certain amount of tension, relax, close the fan. Trap down with the left hand, right hand underneath, and up. Present or what is it? Offer the incense to the sky. And down. Circle. Shovel up. Cover. Shift. Close the fan. Trap. Step out into a heel stance. Chop. And with the foot, there's no weight or very little weight, maybe 10% on that front heel stance. Going back earlier. So, chop to the rear. This could be a butt end strike. Protect the head, protect the knee. Adjust the feet open. Circle walk. 1. 2, with your stab. 3, heel down, fan palm down. 4, pigeon-toed. 5, opening the foot. 6, step around, circle up, and raise the left foot. And 1, open the fan. Circle, shovel up, close. Close the fan. Trap with the left hand, and here's where you have your 52 hand blocks idea. The right hand coming up on the inside. Foot goes onto a heel stance and top. Like that. So on the 180, this is on the long axis again. Seems like a lot of work. All we're doing really with the feet is we're here, we're shifting back, we're shifting here, and then we're putting the foot out. Seems like a lot of work for such a minor adjustment, but there's a lot going on with the hands. So shovel up, cover, close the fan, drop, chop. Cat stance. 1, fan palm up. 2, stab, both hands palm up. 3, heel down, right hand turns palm down. 4, pigeon-toed. 5, open. Close the fan, circling the hands, and offer the incense to the sky. Butt strike. Open the fan. Circle. Shovel up. Back, raising the left toe. Covering. Shift through. Chop. Or close the fan. And chop. Like that. Again. Cat stance. 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Up, off, cover, close, chop. How's this going, guys?
This is really helpful, Steve. Sorry, this is Judy. My throat is weird. But I have to go. I'm sorry. So thank you very much. Have a
Okay.
good day.
And we have about 20 minutes. I think CJ's had to head off as well. So let's just keep on going. I'd like to get the rest of you guys through the next move because it winds up in a very pretty place. Okay, so take care, Judy. Okay, the rest of you guys, Bob, Renata, Jill, and Rob. Okay, Jill?
It's a small point, but I'm not entirely sure when we're finishing the full fan and then we go into the chop. I can't quite understand what I have to do fast enough to make the fan collapse to do the first of the two where you're closing the fan.
Okay, the key here, if I'm picking up correctly on what you're saying, Jill, is the transition into that.
Yes, deflect.
And the thing about transitions in forms of this kind is that they very often are teacups. So if you look at this simply in terms of empty hand, I'm like this, and then I've got this. There's where and then I'm doing this. So and you can see there's the Lohan block. Does that help, Jill?
That's super, thank you.
Okay. Now the next move, I think I better show this a couple of times toward you. Now, so here, here, here. Now, in front of me, imagine that we have a Leah circle on the horizontal plane, like that. Okay? So what I've done is we have a chop, twist step on the right foot, turn the circle on the horizontal plane, follow step. So I weights on the right foot, this hand is out there, and the right hand with the fan is chambered at my hip. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to step, and I'm going to move into my left hand and strike. So this is the same as this, okay, in the 108. Except this is holding a fan. So shovel up, cover, chop, or rather close the fan, trap, chop, horizontal lia with twist step, follow stance, step, and thrust into bow stance. Like that. And that's a natural end to this movement. Our lady works the shuttles, cover, close the fan, chop, shift the weight with the twist step, circling on the horizontal lia. You're now in a follow stance. The fan is chambered by the chest, and the left hand is out as a spacer between you and the other person. Like this. Step, thrust, thrust. So you can see that the left hand is essentially stationary in space. Karna, can I have your help? Now, the reason for what the left hand is doing is, once again, what you're looking at here, and I'm going to work without the fan for a moment, is you're looking at a series of traps. And the left hand is trapping twice. The first time is I've done this, okay, and I'm coming back here, and she's punching at me, and I'm trapping her. And then I'm hitting, back out. Then from here, she jumps back. She's a Kung Fu wizard, and she comes in. And as soon as she does, this hand traps her again. So you do this, trap, punch. She gets out of there. I want to control the center line. So I'm turning, she punches again, and I come in like this. So you see where this hand is, and she's jammed up. Then I'm stepping and I'm punching. Except, of course, it's worse because I've got a fan in my hand. Okay, so this is a thrust with a sword into the area of the person's neck. Thank you, sweetie. So the other thing too about the fan that I emphasize in the written document is that you are really, because it's such a weak weapon, you are going after vulnerable parts of the opponent's anatomy. And it's upper anatomy, because this is short. It's kind of hard to hit the groin with this, although you do have movements which are going down like that, but they're mainly blocking. So what you're after is the area of the neck, the eyes, the head, okay, stuff that can really interfere with an attacker's frame of mind. So our lady works the shuttles, cover, close the fan, trap, chop, horizontal circle with twist step, and the left hand winds up on the center line again, step out, and thrust past the left hand. This movement, probably by Helen, this movement might well be considered Wu style.
What book is that, Steve?
This is Jonathan Krem's wonderful collection, Wu Style Tai Chi. This is basically as close to a Tai Chi Bible as you'll get. Right here is the posture we're doing, thrusting with the fan. He's punching with his, well, you're getting a mirror effect there because of what you're doing. But you see, this is the Tai Chi punch. The one arm with the elbow bent is trapping, and the other fist is punching right through on the square. This is what I tend to do in the 108. Okay, trap and punch right through. Okay, this book, by the way,
Jonathan who?
Jonathan Krem,
Krem.
K-R-E-H-M. I can put up the link. And this one I have autographed by Grandmaster Eddie, who I've known for many, many years now. And this is basically, this is a wonderful book. It's a wonderful book. The photographs are all of Wu style, but you have in this the basic classics. You've got a series of wonderful essays by a Wu style grandmaster who died in 1979, Grandmaster Wu Kung Cho, who was the original editor of the book. He hasn't been around or wasn't around that much because he was put in prison by the communists for 25 years. But it has photographs of him, photographs of his son, Wu Gongyi, Master Eddie's grandfather, doing a small frame. And it's got the documents as well as a beautiful translation by Doug Woolidge of the Yang family 40 documents. So these are a set of texts, all of them fairly short, that were kept secret by the Yang and the Chen family, or Yang and the Wu families, for 100 years. They were written sometime around 1870. And then they were kept family secrets, and their existence was only revealed to the world in 1979. And they have to do with numerology, they have to do with Taoist theory, and they also have quite a bit to do with fighting and with pushing hands, particularly in terms of sensitivity and the different energies. So this is a wonderful document. And this is the first edition. And Jonathan has told me that they have a second edition that has just come out. This original version is sewn together, as you can tell.
Fabulous.
So this is actually a scroll that's been sewn together and then clipped on one side, which is how the first books in China were made. So the book itself is a work of art. And there's a new edition. Whether he followed the same old-fashioned technology with that one, I don't know. But this is why it's worthwhile looking at more than one style. One of our fan people, Mike Hodgins, is not here. Is actually doing a fan course on Zoom with Yvonne Tan, who is another old friend and one of Grandmaster Eddie's senior students. Now we're getting close to the end of our time, so let's do this twice all the way through. Salute. Raising the heel. Commencement. Leading with the radius. Two fishes. Left hand pronated, fan hand supinated. Weight shift and open the right foot to 90. Step through, raising the left heel so your body can turn. Trapping circle with the left leg. Step out. Narrow stance to the front. Chop to your right rear. Come back, keep the circle going. Protect the head. Protect the knee. Level the hands as you pivot in the right toe. Bring in the left hand and the left heel. Step through. Then 1, deflect down, deflect up, cross step, and 2, stab. 3, fan turns palm down, heel goes down. 4, turn, pivoting in the right foot. 5, 6, closing the fan, and offer the incense to the sky. And 1, butt down. 2, open. Circle with the left hand and shovel into the throat. Cover, turning the left hand palm up. Close the fan. Left hand turns palm down and traps. Chop. Twist step and horizontal Leah. Sink, step out, and thrust. Again. Salute. Weight shift into the right foot. Step. Come across. Make sure you get a good stretch in the waist there, but don't torque your knees. Shift across. Circle. And step out. Chop. And back. Circle. Protect the head and the knee. Step through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Over your head, closing it, and up, offer the incense to the sky, sink. Shovel. Cover, close. Trap with the left hand, strike with the right. Horizontal Leah, left hand out. You're in a follow stance. Step out and thrust past the left hand. Okay, guys. Now what I'll do, just to make sure everybody's got the most up-to-date versions, I'll be sending out the 2 fan documents. I'll send out the single fan, which includes a detailed write-up that I did before class of this last stuff. So I'd appreciate it when you get it, if you could read it through and get back to me with any clarifications or corrections that you think it needs. All right. And I'll also include, because there's some interest, I'll include a link to the Wu Family Club in Toronto, which is the major Canadian organization representing the family. And you can order, if you want, this text through that site. Okay. And the editor is Jonathan Krem. Came out originally, I think, about 1986. The background to that book that is interesting is that it was written and published originally, I think, 1930, and it didn't include the 40 documents in it. It was some very wonderful essays and photographs of the Grandmaster Wu Chuan, who was still alive then. And then the Communist Revolution took place. The Wu family and the Yang family were deeply implicated with the triads in China, as well as with the Kuomintang party of Generalissimo Chiang Kai-shek. So there was a house cleaning of Tai Chi people. Wu Kung-cho ended up in prison for anti-revolutionary activities and was sentenced to 25 years. He was released in 1979, I think, and Jonathan met him at a banquet. And what they did was, at that point, they made the decision to release the 40 documents. They'd been held completely secret by the Wu and Chen families, although they often quoted from the documents. So they released a translation in 1979. The Yang family released their version immediately after. Fascinating in that the 2 texts are apparently written in the same hand by the same brush. However, the Wu family document seems to be the official one because it's got the official seals on it, as well as that the Yang family version has got a couple of little errors in transcription in the calligraphy, indicating that maybe, although it was in the same hand, it was a copy that was a little bit hurried. And it contained the full 40 documents. Wu Kung-cho, because his health had been broken in the Chinese prison system, died about a year or 2 later. Okay, so it's got quite a dramatic story behind it. The Yang family, the document itself, and it's called here Wu Style Tai Chi Chuan. It's got pictures of the Wu family, but the documents aren't about Wu Style Tai Chi Chuan. Wu Style, as Eddie points out, is inside the Yang style. If you see the Yang style as having a big tent, the Wus are right in there with small style or small frame Yang Tai Chi. That's not what the Yang family is saying these days, because everybody in China is under the thumb of the party. Okay, but this is the way it works. So the documents here are, they don't say how to go into a bow stance, how to go into an empty stance, what you do. There's nothing in there that will help you stylistically. This is classical stuff about yin and yang, about the subtleties of touch, about the psychology. It has a boxing method that seems to have become extinct. The early or the later heaven boxing. I know the early heaven, and Jill and I are doing a book that includes that. But there's quite a story. The Canadian, I have 3 different versions of the 40 documents. I would recommend this because of the wonderful essays at the beginning by Grandmaster Wu Kung Cho, the man who died in 1980. His essays at the beginning, before the 40 documents, are quite incredible. They deserve to be considered classics on their own. Also, this particular translation is by Doug Woolidge. He is a Canadian professional translator of Chinese who is associated with the Canadian Intelligence Service. So he knows his stuff. And the translation, while it's not poetic, it has a certain style to it that other translations do not have. We'll send that out. So there you have it, guys. Are there any questions? Anything that you want to ask before we close this down? All righty. Karina? Also to Rob and the others who know it, but we got into so much new material that I figured we just didn't have time to close it down half an hour earlier for the practice of the longer sequence. This was a big chunk of Tai Chi today. So anyhow, good health, good practice, and stay safe. See you in 2 weeks and maybe in sessions before then.